Jimmy looking for the Usos.
The WWE Universe was left shattered as news broke of Jemmy Uso's sudden passing, a heartbreaking loss that rocked fans and wrestlers alike. In the midst of overwhelming grief, Jey Uso, Jimmy's twin brother and lifelong partner, both in and out of the ring, stood alone, his pain raw and undeniable. Known for their unbreakable bond and legendary tag team success, the brothers were more than just performers. They were family. Tonight, Jey's tears and heartbreak revealed the true cost behind the spotlight, reminding us all that behind every superstar is a deeply human story. The grieving twin. The camera cut to the stage where Jey Uso stood alone. Gone was the flashy shirt, the signature snapback, and the chain swinging around his neck. He wore a plain black hoodie, the hood pulled low over his head, casting shadows across his face. Despite the dim light, you could see his eyes, swollen and red from tears, filled with a pain no championship belt or crowd applause could ever heal. Jey didn't stride down the ramp with his usual confidence or energy. His steps were slow, each one weighted with grief as if every footfall carried 100 pounds. When he finally slipped into the ring, he didn't pose, didn't raise his arms to the crowd. He just stood there, gripping a microphone, staring down at the mat as the crowd whispered his brother's name. A career of pain and perseverance, Jey continued, voice heavy with emotion. Jemmy had been fighting injuries for years. ACL tears, shoulder surgeries, concussions, you name it. But every time he got back up, because that's what we do. That's what we were taught. The crowd hung on every word, feeling the weight of his pain. But this time, Jey's voice cracked, the microphone trembling in his hands. He pressed it to his lips, fighting to hold himself together. Then the tears fell freely, and so did his words. This time, he didn't get back up. The arena felt frozen in time. The roaring fans, the wild energy, the chants, everything stopped. The crowd, once loud and full of life, now stood in a haunting silence. Jey's grief was palpable as he stepped back onto the ramp. No longer the performer or the champion, but a grieving twin mourning the other half of his soul. The cost of wrestling. The story of Jemmy Uso's death is a harsh reflection of the brutal toll professional wrestling can take on the human body and spirit. Every super kick, every dive over the ropes, every ladder match where he landed on steel instead of canvas took a piece of him. The grueling WWE schedule is relentless. It doesn't care if you're limping, if your shoulder is torn, or if you wake up dizzy from repeated blows to the head. The show must go on, even if it kills you. And for Jemmy, it nearly did. He was too loyal to stop, too proud to admit just how bad things had gotten backstage. Jey would plead with him, begging him to take a break, promising they'd come back stronger. But Jemmy would just shake his head, flashing his trademark Uso grin. Nah, bro, he'd say. The bloodline needs us. You need me. He wrestled through knee injuries that would have sidelined most athletes for a year. Backstage chaos and broken hearts. Backstage chaos reigned. Doctors and EMTs swarmed the area. Wrestlers stood frozen, unsure whether to pray or cry. Roman Reigns, visibly shaken, paced the hallways with his hands on his head. Paul Heyman was speechless, a rare moment of silence from the mastermind. Minutes felt like hours. Then the news broke. Jemmy was gone. Years of brutal punishment, untreated injuries, endless travel, and constant performance without rest had finally caught up to him. His heart had given out. When Jey heard the news, he dropped to his knees, releasing a scream so raw, so anguished, even the toughest locker room veterans couldn't hold back their tears. This was no longer just losing a brother. It was losing a piece of himself. Family, brotherhood, and a promise. As the family gathered, Roman Reigns appeared, eyes red from crying. He placed a hand on Jey's shoulder, voice breaking as he said, "We gave this business everything, Uso, and it took everything from us." The room fell silent. Pain, resentment, and rage swirled in the air. This wasn't just the story of Jemmy Uso's death. It was a brutal reminder of how WWE's relentless machine chews up wrestlers and spits them out. Jey stood before Jemmy's casket as the final eulogy was spoken, every word like a dagger to the heart. The crowd was silent, mourning with him. A declaration of change. Furious at the system that took his brother, Jay made a silent vow. He would fight to make the industry hear the truth. No other family should suffer like his. Roman, now by his side not as tribal chief but as family, gripped Jay's shoulder, offering strength. The crowd began to chant Jimmy's name again, softly at first, then louder, shaking the arena with love and remembrance. Jay's words carried through the arena. They call us entertainers, superstars, but we're human. My brother gave everything and got back broken bones, busted knees, concussions, and now a grave. He deserved better, and I'll make sure no one else loses a brother like this. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more valuable updates.